Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world, talked about the team the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. Guys, we got a lot going on right now. It's kind of like the first wave of free agency is pretty much done. You're not going to see a lot of free agency moves right now, just a couple of filler moves here and there. Nothing that's going to move the needle. I don't think any free agency moves right now are going to change anyone's draft strategy moving forward or anything like that. I think that all that stuff is pretty much set. This is a really important time right now. It's a very underrated time right now in the league year because these are where a lot of the sneaky moves get made. We're going to talk about that. But before we do, want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe. It's a great way to support this channel. It's absolutely free. And like I always say, it's the absolute bare minimum you can do to support this channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching, which, of course, I always do appreciate. All right, guys, we're going to get started here. Now, we're going to talk first about GENO Smith and just some thoughts that I had on this whole situation. It is a little bit of a concern, I think, that we haven't heard any movement. When I came on last week and talked to you guys, I was fairly certain that something was going to get done because I felt like a demarcation point for the GENO Smith contract was the 16th of March, which was last week, because that's when GENO Smith was owed a $16 million roster bonus. And you can't really say, well, we want to give you a roster bonus, but we just gave you $16 million roster bonus from your previous contract. So let's just switch this one around because it doesn't work that way. That is an execution of an old contract that is still going on. Anything now is going to be off of a new contract moving forward. So I would have thought that Spytek and the boys would have got something done by the time the roster bonus was due. Apparently it didn't happen. There's a couple of different scenarios that as to why the contract hasn't been done. Scenario number one, they're just waiting for a second wave of free agency simply because they are looking into adding a few players that may be a little bit more of a higher ticket price. We got some more cap relief, and we redid Christian Wilkins' deal. It's really interesting to me when you have like an old GM like Telesco did this deal last season with the Christian Wilkins, and then the new GM Spytek comes in and is like, dude, what is going on with this deal? We got to rework this thing. Like, this is not helping us whatsoever. So it's really interesting to see how a deal only 1 year old can get restructured because the new GM is like, what was the old GM even thinking about? So one thing that we need to take a look at here is just the timing of everything. For right now, I think it's not an urgent thing to get GENO Smith done, but it does raise some red flags, and this is the red flag that I think is raised the most. How does the presence of GENO Smith affect the draft strategy of the Raiders moving forward? Now, we're going to get into the draft strategy as far as like beyond quarterback later. We're going to talk about just GENO Smith and how it relates to GENO Smith. It may seem, well, I don't want to say it seems, but it's pointing to that it's not a foregone conclusion that the Raiders would not select a quarterback should one drop to them in the first round. If that were to happen, then the Raiders would be less likely to extend GENO Smith for a long period of time. They would probably do a shorter deal, maybe more guaranteed money, but something shorter because they're looking more for the future. If, let's say, they get kind of pushed out of the quarterback of the top two quarterbacks, right? If, let's say, all the mock drafts have Shador and Cam Ward going, within the top three picks. If that were to happen, I believe that a contract will be done very soon after the draft for a longer term deal. That could be some of the sticking point right now going on with the GENO Smith contract. Honestly, I don't think it's that big a deal because I think that all this stuff was discussed ahead of time before Geno was traded. And I think Geno's okay with it. I mean, he's not a spring chicken. I know a lot of these quarterbacks can play further into their careers, but I really do think that Geno Smith was brought in as a kind of a, yes, we can win with you now, and I'm confident that we can, but we also have to look to the future. And I want to use you to be a catalyst to kind of implement the culture for Pete Carroll as far as the players and the leaders go on the offensive side. So there's a couple of things happening here right now. I was one of the people that was very, I don't want to say convinced, but I had a strong conviction that Geno Smith was going to get signed earlier before that roster bonus. The issue with that is now that the roster bonus has been done, there's not really much they can do after the fact because of that roster. That's money out the window already. So I really do think that, I mean, there's a month until the draft, so I don't know that there's going to get much done with Geno Smith. I could be completely wrong, and they'll have him signed up and locked up tomorrow. Who knows? I just have an inkling that it's curious. It's curious. It's very intriguing to me that if the deal hasn't been done by now, it probably won't get done till after the draft. They have Geno Smith. He's under contract, I believe, for 2 more seasons. If they don't do anything, or 1 more season, if they don't do anything, he's under contract. It's very hard for me to believe they would trade away a 3rd-round pick, which I believe a 3rd-round pick is still a premium pick. Call me crazy because of the way we've drafted, but other teams, they do see 3rd-round picks as a pretty premium pick. I think if it's not a quarterback that you're developing, a first 2-day picks, 1st, 2nd, 3rd round, they should start on your team. If not start, play significant minutes. So we're basically trading away a starter for Geno Smith to only have him play 1 year, maybe. I don't know, man. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me from that perspective, but I do understand the implications of the cap hit, $31 million cap hit this season off Geno Smith, the potential about an extension after the contract was executed for his roster bonus on March 16th. That was a pretty big one for me. I really do think that if it hasn't been done up until now, we're looking at a post-draft Geno Smith extension / press conference. Doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me as far as that goes, but ultimately I'm not the one in the driver's seat. And I really do feel like we're not out of the running to take a quarterback early. If we would have committed to, I would have felt that we would have committed to Geno Smith right when we got him because we traded such a good pick for him. But ultimately, I think that this front office is looking to double dip. They want to do both. They want to win now, plus set themselves up for the future. I don't know how much you're setting yourself up to win now by using a premium, a 1st-round pick on a quarterback should one be there and not helping your team get better with a player you can get from there. But it's just a little curious to me why that hasn't happened yet. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much it for tonight. We're going to call it a night. Thank you very much for listening, guys. I really appreciate you. That's my time for tonight. I want to tell you guys one thing. I really appreciate you guys coming on and just showing up for the nation, man. It's Raiders versus the world. It's Raiders versus everybody else. Just like Raheem Mostert said, he didn't really grow up being a Raider fan, but he always kept an eye on the shield. He always kept an eye on it. That goes to show you they hate us because they ain't us. They all want to be part of the Raiders. All right, guys, that's my time for tonight. I really appreciate you guys. Go ahead, if you haven't done it already, please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's a great way to support this channel. It's absolutely free, and it's the bare minimum you can do to support besides doing absolutely nothing. Easy for me to say. Absolutely nothing. And just watching the video, which I always still appreciate. All right, guys. Until next time, everybody. Peace. Hey, Raider Nation. Thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button. Drop a comment. Make sure to subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.